Hey everyone, welcome to episode 11 of the official BeatzCoin Podcast, the last one of 2018. And we're looking forward to a very eventful 2019. I know many of you are off around this time of year, so hope you're enjoying your time off with your family and having a lot of fun. You know, we get caught up in the day-to-days of life that sometimes we forget to enjoy it. Nevertheless, we have so much to look forward to as far as Tron goes. So much development and dApps are coming out, and one of my favorite ones that I wanted to give a quick shout out was to Eggy's World. The website is eggies.world. So when I was a kid, there was this fad. They were called Tamagotchis and Gigapets, where you have a little egg or a little pet and then you raise them. You know, you click the button to feed him and take him to the restroom. Make sure he doesn't leave poop on your screen. So it was a really fun game. It lasted its good while. And I was a big fan of Pokemon as well because of the whole battling aspect. Now, Eggy's World is essentially, in my opinion, both those things combined into one. You know, you raise your little Eggy monster and there's so many different kinds and you can battle them. And there's so much more to the concept of it that I'm missing here, but I definitely want you guys to check it out. Eggies.world. They have exclusive little monsters that you can purchase that they're more expensive because they're more valuable and they're assets that it will appreciate over time. One of my favorites, one of my daughter's favorites is the alien egg, and they actually have a special as far as the amount of TRX it costs to purchase. I'm going to link that in the description as well. But they have a great development team. The game will launch on January 14th. This is great not only for adults to play, but also getting your kids involved, and you can teach them a little bit about blockchain without them even realizing it. Also, for you Telegram users, there is a game brand new called 5 Dice, a great chance to win a nice TRX jackpot or just win a little extra TRX. Check it out. It's real fun, real easy to play. And I will also be linking that in the description so you can go ahead and check it out. So let's move along to the main course now. Roy Washington. He's an artist, coach, mentor, and host of the QuestNation Podcast, where he spends time talking to artists from all over the world. I had a chance to learn a little bit about him and his motivations throughout his life that I surely was able to appreciate. He was really excited to learn about Tron, about blockchain, and what it can do for the music industry, and it's something he'll definitely advocate for. But without further ado, let's go ahead and jump right in.
When you smile, I see the life in your eyes. I hear the rhythm of you, creating moments we chill to. Wrapped in the waves of emotion, it's imperative. We're making love to your mind. It's like the feel of your thighs on my back when I'm deep in consummation with you in the room. It's not the scent of your breath in my face when we touch and share the rhythm of a loving embrace. Yeah. It's your smile that lets me know I'm on point, that I have written the word in this joint, and it's you. Pretty brown eyes and confidence, you're my ministry, and girl, I'm feeling it. Come on, so smile for me, and don't let my hand go, girl. I just want you to know.
Roy, how's it going, man? Welcome to the BeatzCoin Podcast. How you doing?
Hey, how's it going?
Excellent, man. I'm so happy to have you on the podcast today. We're going to be talking a little bit about, music, about your podcast, QuestNation, crypto, the whole music industry. But let's jump right into it, man. Tell me about yourself. Tell me about your life kind of growing up. What got you into music and what's your inspiration?
Well, growing up, I kind of was into some everything, man. I was a person who I could listen to Kiss and Fleetwood Mac and Foreigner, but then I liked my Ohio players and Bootsy Collins, the Isley Brothers. I was well-rounded in music. Played harmonica, when I was in school. Dad bought me a guitar, and I never learned how to play it, but, I used to always, turn on Boston or Chicago, some of those old classic groups, and grab the guitar and act like I was playing in front of thousands of people. When I went into the military right after high school, and that's where I grew as a rapper. I've met a guy named Tony Bartley. He called himself MC Breeze. He was from New York. and that's when I started rapping when I was in the military. Never forget my first show. It was classic. But you know, from there, when I got out the military, started Demolition Posse with my guy James Lewis, and you know, we took off on the underground circuit. And I really believe that if we had the same opportunities with the internet and everything at that time, you know, I got out of the military in '88, we'd be a household name by now. But you know, they say sometimes when you plan out your life and you think it's going to go this way, God have another direction for you. And here it is, years later. I'm much older, but I think I'm just as good. And he's helped me to bless other people. And I got an EP I'm recording now. So, you know, you just gotta make the best out of it. You know what I'm saying? And right now my life is dedicated to shining the light on these young people, these young artists,
right,
and making a difference in my community.
Right. I understand that was a big part of your life. So it sounds like you had a very versatile music upbringing, right? Because you mentioned all types of genres. And how did you get into rap itself? I know it was in the military, but what was that moment where you're like, okay, this is what I can do?
Well, I think the song that changed my life. I was in boot camp.
What changed your life?
I was in boot camp the last couple of weeks of boot camp, so it was real laid back. And this guy let me borrow his remember the Walkmans? He had a Walkman with a tape deck, and he let me borrow it. So I go to my bunk. Song came on, and it blew my mind.
What was the name of the song? You said?
Rewinding it. I'm building up to it. I kept rewinding that song. I must have rewinded it about 15, 16 times, and it was Rock Bots by Run DMC.
Wow.
That song changed my life. And, you know what I'm saying? I was loving hip hop ever since then. And then, you know, you hear Eric B. and Rakim and Criminal Minded by KRS-One and BDP. Those songs really influenced me. And then, like I told you earlier, running into Tony Bartley from New York when I was in the military. Mm-hmm. He was a big time rapper, and I got with him, and I honed my skills, and I ended up performing in front of generals and colonels and everything. So I knew I was destined to do big things with that at that time.
I want to take a second and talk about the underground scene, because you say underground, a lot of people hear underground and it's a whole nother popularity. How would you define what underground is, and what's the difference between, I know there's a clear-cut difference between mainstream and underground, but what defines success in the underground scene?
Well, for me, it was just the success was the quality of music we put out and the lives that we touched. See, when I was underground artist, like I said, in '88, I started Demolition Posse with my guy James Lewis. He's known now as Midwest James, one of the greatest beat makers and producers I've ever seen. You know, we switched over to gospel, became a group called Forgiven, and I remember we packed cathedrals, we packed YMCA's, people coming to see us. We all over the Midwest. You know, we travel. So I think that was success because, you know, we had a big following. And even though we wasn't known nationwide, we never got that opportunity. But on the underground circle in the Midwest, we was able to affect a lot of lives. Had young people in droves coming to see us and loving our music. And for me, everything I write has to always kind of points to God, always kind of points to you. Having some consciousness and knowing who you are and knowing what you can do in your life. And so when people kind of gravitate towards my music, I think they're getting fed. So that's success for me.
And that's very admirable, man, because, you know, a lot of people want to do it for the fame and to make the money. But from talking to you, it really sounds like it's something that you do because it's a passion and because you want to reach other people in a deep way, you know, not just provide entertainment. So I know that has led you down the path of mentoring others, right?
Yes, it has.
Tell me a little bit about, you know, what you do now as far as mentoring young musicians.
Well, like with QuestNation, I started in 2015, the podcast. Well, really, to be honest, Quest was started back in 2009 when I was a basketball coach, and I had an undefeated high school team that I was coaching with one of my buddies. Shout out to Marvin Hall. And along the way of having that undefeated season, we were showing these young men how to be men, not just to be great basketball players, but how to have honor and respect for yourself. I got with a group called B to S, brother to sister. They had like a fraternity. Shout out to Bishop Randolph Nichols, and I'm a big brother there. And they teach these young people how to respect others, how to respect yourself, how to have confidence, and things like that. So with QuestNation, I said, back when we were hot, we didn't have opportunity for the nation to hear what we can do and see what we can do. So I'm going to shine a spotlight on a lot of these local artists here and share their music and share their talents over the internet so people can know that Milwaukee is hot as well. We're just as hot.
Right.
But it's spread now. So I've dealt with artists in Africa and in Europe. I just did a show with a group from Poland. So I've gotten to know a lot of artists all over the world, basically, and it's been a blessing.
So my question is, because that's my goal, honestly. That's why I kind of look up to you and your podcast, because I see that you've had, different types of artists from all over the world. And I think that's awesome because you're kind of bringing a music community together. So now that you told me how QuestNation started, how did it get to the point where you started? Well, you said you started with the musicians in Milwaukee. How did you branch out into meeting so many different people from literally all over the world?
Taking advantage of the internet, getting on sites like LinkedIn and just getting on and networking and meeting artists and said, hey, I like your music. Can you come on my show? Sure. You know what I'm saying? So I've gotten a rapport with a lot of artists all over the world now. I got artists hitting me up, just sending me music and just requesting to be on QuestNation. So that's cool. My vision was to build like a spider web all over the world, and especially the United States. So and we all connect together as an underground circuit. Because I always tell people that mainstream, you got some great artists out there in the mainstream, but a lot of these underground artists that probably didn't get the same opportunity to get noticed, they're putting out music just as hot, and you know that. So that was my vision to shine a light on those people.
Right.
So so that's your question is through the internet and through networking. So that's how I did it.
That's awesome, man. And now QuestNation has gone a little farther. It's even it's not just underground. You have all types of shows on there, don't you?
Yeah, well, like I said, I'm a huge paranormal fan. So I have a lot of friends now in the paranormal community all across the world. Like I said, and people who I see on TV, like Katrina Weidman. It was just mind blowing to speak with her and talking with her and everything. So, and then we deal with issues now as far as culture, things happening in the city, happening worldwide. I've partnered with Miss Deborah Gillespie. Shout out to her, Mothers Against Gun Violence. So we do a lot of political things and a lot of things in the city, like going to City Hall and having concerts in front of the senators and everything. But the talk about gun violence and to try to do something as far as bringing awareness to our young people as far as killing each other in the street. We need to abandon it. So I've kind of gotten political with her, and I have 2 radio shows with her. I have 2 radio shows with her that's really popular right now. So I'm just loving it.
That's good, man. It sounds like you're real active in the community, in not only just music, but in all these other aspects, which is, it's awesome to be versatile like that.
Yes, sir.
So staying on the topic of music, what's your thought of the whole music industry? Because you're involved in the underground scene, and you are a part of that, and you see how effective it is, at least from a connection point of view, maybe not from a monetary point of view, because you're not reaching the masses. I know you were saying that, if there was the distribution that there was back then, like there is now, that,
yes.
You could have had a lot more potential. But what's your thoughts on the music industry as a whole? Because we know there's a lot of problems with it today.
Yeah, I just I don't know. I think the music industry is okay. It's not as, I don't think it's as good as it was back maybe in the 80s and 90s. I think a lot of the music was much better, but we have some great artists out there now. But I just think that my biggest thing with the music industry now, I think is the conscious level. I think we hear a lot of songs about, twerking songs and shake your butt and all this other kind of stuff, but I miss groups like Public Enemy. And like I said, Rakim, miss, even though there was a group called Pussy Riot over in Russia. I miss that really good conscious music, though, because sometimes we need that. I like to party, too. Give me some party songs, but I also like to hear something once in a while that lets me know that, I am somebody, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, absolutely. There's
a little 9 to 5, but I can do damage out here just as much as somebody else. So I like that conscious music as well. We're missing that.
We're definitely missing that, because you could tell that there's a dark side to the music industry, and that's why you see most of the songs talking about sex, drugs, and alcohol, right?
That's right. And so, and as the young people are listening to that, I think that's why you can go on Instagram and see these young ladies half naked, just putting up pictures to get likes, but the music is kind of turning us that way, to the sexual thing and all that, and a lot of these young queens out here don't, seem like they don't know their worth. They think it's just all about their body, they're not gonna have that their whole life, you know what I'm saying? So, we need to get back to the point to where, they on a spiritual level, they know that there's so much more than that. There's so much more than that body. That body break down at some point in your life. You know what I'm saying? But what you have on the inside is what's going to carry you all the way to the end. And that's how you're going to leave a legacy with what you have on the inside.
Agreed. And going back to the actual, musicians, the people trying to make it out here, the ones in the underground scenes, the ones trying to be heard. What's your opinion? I know we've talked a little bit about, Bitcoin, blockchain technology, how it can revolutionize the world. But just off the top of your head, what is the key for an underground artist, not to make it mainstream, but to be successful, to make a living out of it? Because we all need to make money, right? We all need to, feed our families and stuff. So not necessarily the fame, but what do you think they need to be able to make a living?
I just think they have to have the work ethic. I think back in the day, we had a very big work ethic, but we didn't have the tools that they have today. I remember back in the day, just getting in the car with one of my homies in the back with a map. We didn't have the other stuff they have now. We just had a map and reading a map, and we're going to another state, trying to hook up with a radio station or something. You have that hunger and desire. So I think a lot of these young people, they have that same hunger. They can use these tools that they have now to promote yourself, and to get out there and share your music and networking. I think people need to network. You got to know how to network. I'm always trying to network with somebody especially who I think is a step above me. You know what I'm saying? I like to keep that kind of company. So that helps me to get better. And I think that's what they need to do.
Right. I kind of go back to what you said about the spider web. The spider web's going to interconnect all together. And something that's been huge, within the last couple of years is blockchain technology. Bitcoin pioneered that movement to where we're at right now. And I mean, it's exactly what we're doing with BeatzCoin, how we're trying to create a platform for more people to be heard and be able to earn what they deserve. Because, you could put your stuff out on YouTube, but there's, you still have to do so much work. I mean, you mentioned it. There's a work ethic part to everything, but then at the same time, it just becomes an overwhelming amount of content that you're kind of behind the 8 ball, because you're going to have to spend a lot of money to actually get noticed, because there's a lot of talented people out there. What's your opinion as far as that, like how a decentralized world can help out?
Well, I just think that what you were just talking about, what you guys have going on, that's something that a lot of these artists need to gravitate to. Just like I said, the networking, the spider web thing, and getting with programs like yours to get heard, and like I said, to rub elbows with other artists who may be a step above you, and then collaborations. That's one thing about the spider web I like. I'm doing a collaboration right now with a group in Poland. They're playing guitar on the track. And they are very well established. So that helps me out. So just learning how to network, and then like I said, the thing that you guys have going on, I'm not all the way knowledgeable about it, but I'm still learning, and I think it's a really good thing what you're doing.
Yeah, just picture a music ecosystem where everyone's getting rewarded from the people putting out the music and taking a healthy portion, not just, leaving the scraps like what Spotify and Apple Music do to most of the artists. But you get your listeners involved, you get them, earning the cryptocurrency, and it's just a whole ecosystem. That's what it's all about. And did you know there's, for Spotify, if they play your song like 100,000 times, you're only making about $700. And then you have to split that with a label, and you have to go ahead and who knows who else you have to pay for that. Right. The thing is, we're trying to build a system where, because artists nowadays, they don't need as many middlemen because they're doing a lot of stuff themselves. They're putting in that work, and the tools are out there. So we're creating a more efficient way for them to market, while they're also going to get, what they deserve.
Right.
So moving along, the foundation you started, was that or you partnered up with the Mothers Against Gun Violence?
Yes, I did. In 2017, we partnered up.
Yeah, tell us a little bit about that.
Well, Miss Deborah Gillespie, she's a mother who lost a son to gun violence, I think back in 2002, something like that. And so that got her on the front lines as far as doing work to bring awareness to gun violence. And I could never say that I understand the pain of losing a child. I hope I never have that experience. But shout out to her and all the mothers who's losing kids out here. So she's been changing lives, reaching out to other mothers who have lost children out here in the streets, and I think she was recognized by the White House in 2005 for her work. So she's heavy out here on the front lines, and we partnered up, and so it's been a good partnership. Just supporting her and trying to bring awareness to make our streets safer.
What would you say for these young people that are coming out making music, wanting to make it quote unquote big? As a mentor, what would your number one advice be?
Number one advice, I guess, would be to just watch your lyrical content, because it's power in lyrics, power in what you say. I was talking to somebody earlier, and sometimes when you say things and you put it out there in the atmosphere, it's power in that you can bring it to life. So instead of all this negative music and everything, like I say, I like to party like everybody else. I'm older now, but I like this party jam just like everybody else. But I would say that a lot of these artists need to, maybe you got these people who's loving your music, who's probably purchasing your music online and everything, and a lot of these young people, be impressionable to them on a positive level, and then put out some music that's going to help them to keep their head up, and they don't have to take off their clothes to be noticed. So give something back. Real brief. There's a story I love about a postman who died in with the heaven, and so when he's up in heaven, he see all these people that he knew, all these people who he delivered mail to over the years. Mm-hmm. And then they come to find out the angel told him, hey, these are people who was inspired by you. They seen how you walked, how you kept yourself together, the class that you had, and they were inspired by you, watching your lifestyle. You know what I'm saying? So I think that's very powerful. That's a legacy that I want to leave. I might not have the dollars and all that, but I want to have a legacy where people are saying, I was inspired by him. Of course, I'm not going to tell anybody I'm perfect, but just by the way he kind of lived his life and everything, it kind of inspired me to want to be better, to be a better man, better young lady, whatever the case may be.
In other words, to put it bluntly, and let's be honest, we know this happens in the music industry. Don't sell out, right?
Right. Don't sell out. But like we was talking earlier, that dollar, that dollar is powerful. Is that some people they'll do whatever for that dollar, but that dollar can't buy you love. It can't buy you happiness. We see rich people who take their lives and everything. I was very hurt by Robin Williams. You know what I'm saying? That don't mean just because you're rich don't mean that you're happy. You know what I'm saying? Find what you do it well, and try to inspire other people. And I think that'll bring some happiness and some pride to your life.
Right. And I don't think money, what is money, right?
Right.
This is one of the things that kind of caught me on to the whole Bitcoin craze and cryptocurrencies is the fact that, money is just paper. We don't even keep most of it now in paper. We put it into our, little plastic cards.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah.
Yeah. So what is money? You put the value in money because you put faith in the central governing systems that kind of run the whole thing. And I like to bring out a fact from the end of 1913 is when the Federal Reserve was established, right?
Uh-huh.
And ever since then, the buying power of the dollar has died down so much that I think a dollar back then is worth 5 cents now, like its buying power. So,
right.
The man, you could say, is not taking us in the right direction. Whereas you have Bitcoin, a cryptocurrency with blockchain technology, is a deflationary asset that's only going to appreciate over time because there's only a limited amount of them, right?
Right.
So I encourage you, man. I know that you thought that was very interesting. I'm on a mission with you. I want to let these artists know that you've spoken to. We got to let them know about cryptocurrencies and how it can ultimately change their careers.
Yeah, no doubt.
So we definitely got to get together and work on that.
Yeah, no doubt. And I'm looking forward to learning more about it. So I can educate myself even more, so I can help spread that word and to put in work with you on that. Yes.
Yeah, and I know you have the EP coming out, so we definitely got to have that on our platform as well when it comes out.
Well, thank you very much.
Yeah,
well,
man.
It's the first time I'm in the studio since 2006. It's been crazy.
It's been a while. You still got it though. I got what I played in the I haven't even gone back to edit this episode, but I'm gonna put the inspiration song. I actually want you to now that I remember that, let's talk a little bit about that because that was featured in a documentary. Tell me about that song because I listened to it and
yes, it was
very powerful lyrics. But I want you to tell me about it.
Thank you. Well, like I said, the inspiration was just kind of a clean little joint for the steppers. Stepping is big, especially in Chicago, and there was just a little stepping joint I put out, just a nice little clean, little smooth romantic jam, and this movie production. They was doing this movie called Perspectives on Stepping, and it featured all the big time steppers all over the country, especially in Chicago. So they heard the song and they wanted it to be on their soundtrack and contacted me. And so I was with it, and so it's on that soundtrack. I have a copy of the movie here. It's been on cable and everything. And I think that's something that made me proud, having a major film want to have one of my songs on there. And shout out to James Lewis, Midwest James, my partner. We've been doing music together for years. Shout out to him. He did the music on there, and I did the lyrics.
That's awesome, man. So I'd like to kind of open up the floor to you. Is there anything else that you want to bring up to our audience? Anything?
Like I said, just love each other. We talk about making America great again. I speak a lot about that on my EP, a whole bunch about what we need to do to make America great again. And really, I don't see it happening. But I know the thing that we need to do
You're right
is
about that.
everybody get back to the point where we're respecting each other. We respect ourselves. We respect each other, despite our color and all that. We're all God's people. We're all children of God. We all bleed red. So if the country can come together, and all of us just do right by each other. Just be civil one to another. This country can get back on track. Now from the police, everybody, every cop isn't bad. Every brother that you see walking down the street with maybe his cap turned backwards isn't bad. You know what I'm saying? There's good, there's some bad people, there's some good people. But if we adopt what Martin Luther King said, he said, "Judge me by the content of my character," and if we can do that, we'll be on the right path. So that's what I want. I want you to judge me by the content of my character. Because when I see you, I'm gonna respect you, and I'll do anything I can for you that I can. You know what I'm saying? So if I can get that in return, we got something positive.
That's well said, man. You didn't have to use complex words, but that message is direct, and I appreciate that, and I know people are gonna appreciate that. So, man, I really enjoyed talking to you, and I like to end things now. I usually do a random, kind of something random, right? So you mentioned that you were a basketball coach, and I'm going to ask you a random question, and you can ask me a random question. Who is the second best NBA player right now, in your opinion? That's my random question for you, because we all know LeBron is, best player right now.
The second best, I'd have to say, is my boy Giannis, Milwaukee Bucks in the house.
He's definitely very talented. Yeah, he kind of came out of nowhere. I didn't really see. We didn't really notice him until year 2 is when he started.
He just exploded on the scene, didn't he? And I want to say shout out to Nonchalant. He's a young artist here that I mentor in the city. He did a song called Greek Freak. It's in honor of Giannis and the Milwaukee Bucks. You need to hear this. I'll share it with you, but it's an amazing song. So, and I think the 2K people, the video people, they wanna work a deal with him to have it on their next game. But it's called Greek Freak, and we'll talk about it a little bit later.
So next time it's when 2K20 comes out, maybe it'll be on the soundtrack of the game. That'd be awesome. Yeah. If you could,
they heard it too late. When they heard it, they already had
game was
everything
already out
for this year. Yeah. So he's an amazing artist. Nonchalant. He's about 6'7", big guy. But he's an incredible rapper, and I've been dealing with him. He's a joy to work with.
We'll definitely have to get his info there, and we'll link that on the podcast as well as on our Twitter. Where is the best place to follow you? Are you active on Twitter, Instagram?
Yeah, you can catch me on Instagram at Novelist 2019, Twitter at Smooth Novelist, Roy Washington on Facebook, and on LinkedIn, Leroy Washington. Leroy is my government name. Business wise, I use Roy because that's what my dad used to call me. So that's just a shout out to him and remembering for him every time I say Roy.
Awesome, man. And any random question for me, whether it's Bitcoin, anything related.
Who's your favorite artist?
My favorite musical artist?
Yes.
My favorite musical artist is Chris Carrabba from Dashboard Confessional. He was big in the. Do you remember the old Spider-Man 2 with Tobey Maguire?
Yes.
His song is featured there. It's called "Vindicated," and I've had the privilege of meeting him, and we're good acquaintances now. But I've been blessed to be able to have really good conversations with him. He's a lyrical genius, and his songs are heartfelt. I would say a lot of people call it like emo type music, but I would say it's a very alternative rock, acoustic, because I love playing guitar. So that's my favorite artist. Yeah, thank you for asking. I hope to have him on the show one of these days in the very near future.
Most definitely, I'm about to check out this music. And what are your plans? What are your goals for 2019?
So my goals for 2019, I got to ask you the same question. is to take BeatzCoin to the next level. We have our platform that's launching, and we're working on an artist endorsement campaign where we want to get many talented artists and essentially get them started on the platform and get good content on there. Because the problem with cryptocurrencies now is it's in its baby stages, right? We haven't reached mass adoption, and that's going to take time. I understand that. But in order for us to have that mass adoption, we have to create something that's going to bring people. As far as a music platform, you need great music on there, right?
Yes, that's right.
The big company that we support, that their goal is to decentralize the internet, is Tron, and that's where we're building. So if we are able to, and that's most of our listeners come from the Tron community, which I'll have to give you a pep talk on Tron and Justin Sun and the wonderful things that they're doing with decentralization through the use of cryptocurrency and blockchain. But the goal is really to bring people and really get this thing off the board or off the ground and get it going. It's a project that's going to take probably years to master, but it's definitely something that I can see artists benefiting hugely, and through this is something that can create that mass adoption where more people start using cryptocurrencies and start depending less on the traditional fiat banking system that can obviously let you down. And what about yourself, man? Yeah, what about yourself? What's the plan for 2019?
To be a part of that program with you guys and do what I can to add to it, to put out a wonderful EP, to defend my award at the GRM Awards this year when August comes around, and to work with Bishop James Cloud on the reality show we're working on for the cable network. So those are my things that I want to get done in 2019. And when you narrow it down to the bottom line, it's all of that is just to help uplift my people. And when I say my people, I mean all of us, just to help uplift and just do what I can, what little I can, to add to all the other positivity that's going on.
Beautifully said, man. I look forward to being a part of that with you too, man. So I know we're going to stay in touch. And that's one of the reasons why I love this podcast, because everyone I talk to, I have great conversations, and it just isn't one conversation and bye. I usually end up talking to these people on a regular basis, and I know you're going to be one of those, because we're going to have to connect and get other artists on board and really kind of pioneer this movement.
Yes, sir.
All right, man. Well, thank you so much for hopping on the podcast.
Man, thanks, Alex. Thank you, man. I really enjoyed it. I was looking forward to it, man, and I really enjoyed it. Thank you.
Sending my love to you in verse 2 with a kiss and a beat that you and I can step to. Come on. God created the heavens and the earth. What he saved is very best for the day of your birth. No longer is it just me, myself, and I, but since you have arrived, you're the apple of my eye, girl. Open your heart and let me come inside. All this love is forever for the ride. And when that DJ played our favorite song, we dance the night away until we're heading home, where we're
That was it. The last episode of the year. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. I really hope you guys enjoyed it. I will be working really hard in 2019 to bring you guys more great content, more great guests on the show. There's so much to learn from everyone. So the more we hear from others, the broader our perspectives are going to get, and the more knowledge we're going to acquire. My goal when this thing started was to bring the crypto and music communities together and be able to create a fusion where, we can appreciate and connect with both things. So thanks for bearing with me while I've been figuring out how to make this podcasting better from an audio perspective, from a content perspective. So please share this podcast with your friends. I really want to take this show and make it all about a community and really take it to the next level this coming year. So if you have any advice, any ideas, please shoot me a message. Write me an email. All my info's on the description below. @ProGara on Twitter, agara @Vibravid.io. Guys, thanks again from the bottom of my heart. Really appreciate you. Much love. Bye-bye.